Welcome to Momentum Group, Momentum Trading Group chart explanation. What we're going to do is we're just going to pull up a S&P 500 chart using the T4 Cunningham Trading System CTS's software. This is the primary charting package that we use for looking at charts and analyzing the markets. I'm just going to kind of walk you through just some of the basic features of it so you can get an idea of how to use it. Now, the first thing you're going to have just across the top is just some different tabs here. Properties can be accessed by just clicking on this here, and this just pulls up general, the account, and then for the particular market. If you want to expand this out, you just drag this over to the side, and you can expand this out. The settlement, this is the previous market close. You'll see the line on the chart. You can see it right here. And if I wanted to just change that, let's say to purple, I can change that, but we'll just keep that at yellow, which is the standard color there for that. That's just really just giving us an idea of how the market closed the previous day and where we're currently trading relative to the previous market. Again, a bunch of different settings in here. We just kind of leave it all standard. This is for the S&P and getting a feel for the different bar charts or the different charts that you're looking at. As far as candlesticks, you can come in here and you can manipulate and change that. So you can see, like if you wanted to change the color of your arrow, your bars when the color is or trade is rising, you can change that. So I recommend, kind of feeling something that's comfortable for you. I personally don't prefer a red. I prefer a different color for my down. So you may want to give that a different color than the red. What happens is red, because of stop, just you tend to not want to short the markets in that case. So you can come in here and select different colors as it relates to that. For this case, we'll just maybe do it to purple. You can set the background as well. If you come into general and you see the background color, you can come over here and you can adjust the background color to whatever color you want as well. So if you don't like the gray, if you want more of a white background, you can set that. And it creates the trade grid there. So we're going to select that to white just so you can see it. And then the grid, you can come in here and you can change the grid as well. Some people don't like the grid. I think for me it does help, but it's not necessary. So let's say we want to select kind of a lighter grid. Well, now we can't see our previous market close. We're going to select that to red just so we can definitely see that number. You can see our crosshairs are also going to show up in red there. But this is just a real easy way that you can come in and manipulate that. If you want to save that as default, let's say every chart that opens from here on out would pull up as this particular color scheme, you can do that as well. So we're just going to select that as our default. So every single time a chart now pulls up, it's going to look just like this. So if I were to open a new chart, same thing would happen. It would pull that up. So there's some other features here. If you want to copy the chart, if you want to print the chart, some people like to print the chart based on their trades. So you're able to print and save that. The next button over gives you the ability to pull up the contract. So let's say if I clicked on this, this pulls up your trade ladder, so you can see the bid and offers of the market. So what if you were to buy it, you're basically going to be buying it at the yellow right here. This number indicates the high of the day. Do you see where it's kind of a whiter color? And then if you come down here, you can see here was the low of the day in the same whiter color. And then this has been all the volume for the day as it stands right now. You can see kind of the bulk of our volumes, that 2090 value. So it has traded up in this range, but there's not as much trading going on. But the bulk of our trading has been kind of in this 2090 price. So a little bit lower than where we're at. We're going to have a whole session just explaining the trade ladder. The active is just the current month. Right now we're trading Marches. When that falls off, the active will become June. But you can go on and select the Junes and see some of these further months. You can see there's not a whole bunch of these contracts being traded right now. So, again, the September's, no contracts trading. December's, no contracts trading. March 2016. So March 2015, this is the current front month contract, but you can just leave that on active and just let that stay there on active. Under this little crosshair drop down, if you wanted to add different things, annotations, you can type little notes on the chart, put arrows on there. You can do different things as it relates to the scales, different Fibonacci's, trend lines, Gann angles, different things, channels, things like that. Different lines that you can put on there, boxes. So if you wanted to draw a box, you could just click on it like that and draw a little box. Once you've drawn that box and you want to delete it, all you have to do is come over here and right click on the box there and then just click delete box and it takes the box off. Some pretty common ones that you'll probably end up using will be more of these horizontal lines when you're drawing your support and resistance. Let's say, okay, well, we can see that there's probably some support down there. And then you can obviously change the colors of those. And then you can see prior to where we're trading now, we are getting up into a little bit of a resistance level. So maybe you came in here and said, okay, well, I'm going to draw some resistance up there. So you can see there's your kind of your current range with that. If you want to change that, all you have to do, if you saw what I did is I right clicked on the line and went to properties, and then I can just come in here and I can change the color of my line if I want. I can change the thickness of it, so if you want to see it stand out a little bit more, you can come over here and just change the thickness of that line. So we're going to go ahead and delete those off the chart here. You can see that the system as a whole is pretty user-friendly. If you want to add studies, there's an area to do that right here, and I'm going to show you that just in a little bit more depth. Add a secondary market to the chart if you wanted to overlay another market to the chart. So let's say we did the 6J, which is the US yen, and you wanted to have two of them overlaid. You can see how as the yen is dropping, this goes higher. So you can see how they end up coming together. So sometimes people like to have additional things on their chart like that. So we're going to go ahead and remove that second market off there. But this is a really good value for you that you can just kind of look at and get a feel for each of these. Now you'll notice what this does is there's a kind of a different shaded box here to be aware of. You can see how it kind of breaks your chart out a little bit. Now this next bar is going to be different styles of charts. We like candlesticks because we believe there's a lot more data in the candles than normal. But if you just come over here and look and you click on a standard bar chart, gives you the same data, open, high, low, close, but it's a little bit harder to read. Can't really see it that well. So here's candlesticks, a couple other ones. Here's a line chart so you can see the overall lines of that. Sometimes people will like to use this for support and resistance. They think it kind of helps them give them a little bit better visual on levels that way. Other different types of charts, point and figure charting, which is kind of the original charting system you can see here, just kind of overlays that. Don't necessarily recommend anything. We like to just use candlesticks. So there's our candles there. You can see how this just gives you an overall sense of price. The next box just lets you go to time frame. So if you wanted a 1 minute chart, 5 minute chart, 10-minute chart, you can just select those here. If you wanted to do a custom, you can come right in here and you can select, go to the S&P, and you can come right over here. You can, let's say you wanted a 7-minute chart for whatever reason. You can select that, click OK, and that's a 7-minute. Each one of those bars represents 7 minutes now. So we're going to keep that to 5. You'll notice here you can do other ones like what we call a tick range chart, volume traded chart, seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, and months. So if you wanted to see seconds, you can see how many bars this puts on a chart. Now again, every single one of those now is represented by seconds. So not necessarily recommended, but just something just so you can kind of see the value of everything here. So we're going to change this back to a 5-minute chart. There's our current 5-minute. Now on the chart itself, if you left click, it allows it to slide left to right. If you right click, it lets you zoom in and zoom out. So if you wanted to zoom, that's how you do it. Same thing here, left click versus right click. You'll notice up here there's this little A. If you click that, it just resyncs the chart completely up. These other two buttons, this is just going to be the data, view chart data. So here's all the data that comes in for the open, high, low, close, and volume on that, and the timestamps of when those all traded. So not as much value there for you. And then this is the ability to trade off of your chart. Now, this is a little bit more advanced of a trading style, but this does give you the ability to set values, buy and sell right directly off the chart. So that's just a basic overview of the charting package as it relates to some of the basic features. Again, if you want to right click, let's say you had some missed data, you could just click reload chart and it would, basically go back out and pull all that data again. Studies, these are where you're going to have all of your technical studies for your chart. One of the ones you're going to see us use is going to be the Bollinger Bands here. So you can see that, one of the things you look for here is when price trades outside the band. That gives a pretty good indication of potential areas to buy or to, get out if you're in a trade. If you had bought in here, you'd want to be getting out somewhere in this range. So it gives you a basic midpoint here. If you wanted to change anything as it relates to your Bollinger Bands, if you right click on properties again, and you come down to the S&P and you scroll down, you'll see how it'll have Bollinger Bands selected down here. Standard deviations, you can change that. Let's say you wanted a 2.5 or 3 standard deviation. You can do that. You can change the color of your Bollinger Bands. So we're on a purple kick today, so let's just say we wanted purple, wanted to thicken those lines up. You can see how you can kind of adjust that right there on your chart. Go ahead and take that back to more of the standard settings here. See if we can't get a better color. So there you go. So that's just some basic features, and you can add, if you want to remove it, you just again right click on it, click remove, it takes it right off there for you. So just some real basic features there for you if you wanted to get a little bit more familiar with that and playing around with how to actually use the charting package or using the software. Thanks for attending our charting explanation class.